Hello. Hello. Happy Halloween 2021. Talking today about all things Raymond, all things Everlo's Raymond, fan questions, and about the Halloween candy episode. This is Tom Caltabiano talking to you. I am on the East Coast. And I'm saying hello to all of our fans. Hello, Gil. You can hear me okay? I am on AirPods for the first time. Hopefully it sounds loud and clear. Very excited to visit with all of you. Yes, a favorite episode. Halloween. Hello, Bobby in Hawaii. Yes, happy Halloween to so many people. Love the Halloween candy episode. Great. Hello, Pete in Montville, New Jersey. Hello, Donnell, one of our bigger fans. The Halloween candy episode. Yes, my costume is boring writer guy I'm going as. Great. Thank you, Captain Knox, for that thumbs up on the sound. Hello, everybody. How great was Tom McGowan? Hello, London. Tom McGowan last week. Yes, Windlepoons. Hello. The story about the condoms. Yes, on handing out. I am in New York right now at a friend's house. So, the Halloween candy episode. Hello, everybody. Hello, Jerry. Hello. Great. Yes, Tom McGowan was great. And I think, if possible, we're going to have him back December 5th. Tom McGowan, December 5th. So delightful. So many more stories to tell, Tom McGowan. And I didn't want to rush. And I had told him he's probably going to have to come back a lot of times. Hello, Trish. How are you this evening? So, hello, Paula. Glad you can make it this week. So, the Halloween candy episode. Now, I know it's backwards for you guys, correct? But it says there, backwards, written by Steve Scrovan. Now, Steve Scrovan, if you look at the pictures that I just posted, you can see Steve Scrovan in the background. He is wearing a white shirt with a tie that's loosened up, much in the stand-up comedians of the late 80s, early 90s period. That episode, Halloween Candy, Steve originated that idea, and I will tell you the whole story. Now, I invited Steve Scrovan to come on. Steve also wrote the Lateness episode and many, many, many other great Everlo's Raymond episodes. But Steve is not on Instagram. So I did talk to Steve today to try and find out the exact story of Halloween Candy so that I wasn't making stuff up. And as usual, towards the end of the episode, we will page through and look at the never-before-seen photos from the wardrobe department from Everlo's Raymond, the Halloween Candy episode. Any photos of Joe Perry as Carmen Miranda? Carmen Miranda, yes, we will see inside. When are you going to get Patty Heaton on? Whenever she wants to come on, we will have Patty Heaton on. Yes, nice to see everybody back. Halloween. Okay, so here is the story of Halloween Candy. Steve Scrovan was given by his sister-in-law those type of condoms that are in colorful wrappers in his stocking as a gift. It was a funny gift. They have that type of relationship, and they said they try and stick as many crazy, odd things into the stockings to give out during Christmas. And it was right before Everlo's Raymond started. Now, just to go back a little bit, Steve Scrovan was a stand-up comedian. He is from Cleveland, but I met him when I was doing stand-up. He was a headliner at Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, New Jersey. And I was the opening act for Steve. And I remember he gave me his number. He said, hey, if you make it to LA, you can call me up, give me a call. And at that point, I think he had either just finished working on Seinfeld or was about to start on Seinfeld, something like that. And there's a significance there because it relates to a Seinfeld episode in a way. So, Steve Skrovan gets that gift. Everybody Loves Raymond is about to start, and they're looking for story ideas. So Skrovan gets hired, and they're looking to break stories for the first season. So the show is never aired, and it's going to air September, I think, 16th or 13th it aired in 1996. But before then, you break stories. So Phil gathers his writers, and they're breaking stories. And I believe it was Steve's wife who suggested maybe that would be funny to have them in an episode somehow, these colorfully candy-looking condoms. So Skrovan pitches a story, and another writer, Steve Nathan, says, yeah, maybe Frank hands them out to the neighborhood, and it causes problems. So that's kind of the story idea. Now, at the beginning of Everybody Loves Raymond, there was no traction, no ratings, because the show hadn't aired yet. And it was, as I've said many times in the past, now we know it as a big hit. But then it was not even a real pilot. It was called a presentation pilot. So CBS didn't even have that much faith in the pilot to spend the full amount. They had a Cosby show, they had a Ted Danson show, they had a Rhea Perlman show coming on. So Phil, who was in question about even being the showrunner, the full showrunner, when we've had Phil on a couple times and he's talked about it, that they didn't have faith in him being a showrunner, so they had someone come on to supervise him. And that was Steve Nathan, who did end up suggesting about, Frank hands them out to the neighborhood. So Phil, though, has to go to the head of CBS at the beginning of the season and say, hey, these are the episodes we're thinking of doing. And one of those episodes was Frank hands out what he thinks is candy, but it's actually condoms. And so the CEO of CBS, who knows that Everybody Loves Raymond is on at 8:30 on Friday night, 8:30 on Friday night, he says, you can't do that episode. It's not family friendly. So, Phil, the show hasn't even aired yet. So Phil's not going to say, no, I want to do that episode. He says, okay. Now season 2 happens. That episode is not in play, but the next season happens and Phil says, you know what, maybe let's try it again. And he goes, meets with the CEO of CBS and says, what do you think about doing this episode? And he, again, the president of CBS says, no, we can't do that episode. And so Phil goes, okay, and he's not going to fight again. Even though the show had a little bit of traction, it was still number 85 in the ratings on season 1, at the end of season 1. Excuse me. So now season 2 happens. The ratings climb. Phil goes back to the president of CBS, season 3, before season 3, and says, hey, what about this episode? And at that point, it was almost a forgotten thing, but I think Skrovan reminded him of it. And at that point, the president of CBS says, oh yeah, do whatever you want, because now you're a top hit. You're on 9 p.m. on Monday night. It's not, I believe it's 8 to 9, where it's considered family friendly. Now, in hindsight, that episode is so timid compared to what you can see on TV now that it's almost a joke to think that they wouldn't even want to air that type of episode. So when we talk about, I mentioned before about Steve Skrovan had worked on Seinfeld. And I know lots of you are big Seinfeld fans. Some of you don't even know Seinfeld. they did a show on Seinfeld called The Contest. And the contest was about who would have the most self-control in this certain human urge. And so they never said what the contest was about. So Scro, that's what we call him, he decided, okay, let's not ever say the word condom. So it was things and stuff. Things and stuff. And in this way, it was family friendly. And so unless you knew what they were talking about, you would have to put it together. You would have to assemble it. Now, Scrovan told me today that he did get one call from a friend of his who was actually very open-minded and very liberal, who was upset that that episode aired because he felt he watched it with his family and it was pushing the envelope a little bit too much. But you really, really had to know what they were talking about. And unless you were an adult, I don't think you could assemble that. And we never got any pushback from that episode. Now, Steve Scrovan, who wrote the episode, he also supervised the show in India and in Russia. So Phil, if you saw Phil's great documentary, Exporting Raymond, Phil was there initially. And Phil put it on the air in Russia, but Scrovan went over there, as did Jeremy Stevens ultimately as well. And he said that episode, the condom episode, as far as he remembers, was never done in Russia. But he definitely knows that in India, when they adapted Everybody Loves Raymond in India, for those of you that have never seen this before, they adapted Everybody Loves Raymond all around the world. They used, for the most part, scripts that were written by the writers of the American series, and then they cast a local cast. And so the stories, for those of you who know writing, writing is the bottleneck. So you can shoot a series that already has finished scripts really quickly, but you can't write that quickly, which is why the most usually you would do in a series is 22, 26 episodes. Now, in the days of I Love Lucy, they would do 39 episodes a year, but they were coming off a radio. And on I Love Lucy, there wasn't 40 years of TV shows that preceded him. Almost everything Lucy did had never been done before because it was the beginning of TV. And so the bottleneck is the writing. And so in Russia, I forget how many they shot. I think they ultimately ended up making 400 episodes or something of Everybody Loves Raymond. But those were controversial, that episode. Now, the Peter Boyle. Peter is dressed as Frankenstein. And for those of you who know Young Frankenstein, it's about as iconic a role as you could have in your career. And Peter Boyle played Frankenstein. And as far as Steve remembers, Peter decided he'd rather not look exactly like the monster from Young Frankenstein. Now, I don't know if there would be copyright things or whatever the infringement is for if he was dressed exactly the same, but Steve was speculating he was worried that it would be so popular when he walked in that it would be distracting the applause. But in fact, when Frank came out in front of the live audience dressed as Frankenstein, there wasn't this wave of recognition, applause, etc. Now, at that point, I think Young Frankenstein was already 25 years old. And so Steve was wondering, maybe in hindsight, had he come out looking exactly like the monster from Young Frankenstein, it might have been different. As an interesting side note, Steve Scrovan, myself, and Cindy Shupak wrote an episode called 6 Feet Under, and we decided to pull exact words that Peter had said in The Taxi Driver and put it into Everybody Loves Raymond. Now, I don't know that Martin Scorsese is going to care or watch or know and I know he didn't know Everlow's Raymond. I know that in specific cases, like you can't say a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go around because you'll get a knock on the door from Disney. So I don't know whether Peter could have gotten away with dressing exactly like Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein. Let me go back through. These are great questions already. I have to go back. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know you waited season run to do the condom candy store line. Do you remember getting any complaints? Yes, Karen. No complaints. I don't remember any complaints. Again, Steve Scrovan got a complaint from his friend, personally from his friend. Let's see, yes. Did the cast have a choice on their costume for that episode? Yeah, as far as I remember, they did. We'll have to ask Patty when she's on. Doris, Ashley Steuer. So again, the name is backwards, but that is her script. Okay. Backwards, Ashley Steuer. I don't think she's on Instagram, but if I could have her on, that would be great. And we could ask her that, how much say they had in it, because I know Doris is, hello, Leo, happy Halloween in Toronto. Hello. Happy Halloween from Harrison, New York. Yes, lovely upstate New York. Yes, love to. Yes, Tom. Yes, Tom, we'd love to. Sorry, I'm scrolling back now. Tom McGowan. Yes, Noah. Tom McGowan is great, and we will have him back. Hello. Yes. So just scrolling up here. Now, Steve Scrovan also wrote the lateness episode, which I mentioned. I'm going to see if maybe we can have him somehow convince him to borrow someone's phone who has Instagram. I've pleaded with him to come on, but he has not. Now, because before let me see this. Yes, great question. Sorry, do you know a big ELR community? Interesting. You can buy Exporting Raymond on app. Yes, so Exporting Raymond, again, I've mentioned it before, but for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a great, if you're trying to learn about show business, it's a really great thing to watch, Exporting Raymond. And so we'll have to ask if they ever did the condom episode, the Halloween candy episode on So I have this, before I show the inside of the script, I'm at a friend's house who this is from The Bigger Person. Okay, this is a trinket, a little, for those of you, if you can tell me, the super fans out there, when The Bigger Person was, what season. But here, I know there's a lot of glare. So there is Patty holding it, Deborah holding it. And this is signed by Peter Boyle and Patricia Heaton. That is in the kitchen again, Patty holding it. And here it is, The Bigger Person. So that is the actual object from the show right there, The Bigger Person. I just noticed this hanging on the wall and I pulled this off. Does anybody know what year, what season was The Bigger Person? Oh, there we go. That's Better Without Glare. There's a rare framed object from Everybody Loves Raymond. All right, let me scroll down and see how many people we have here. Yes. Did Patty not dress up because she was pregnant? I think, so that was season 3. She was pregnant, but we usually shot early in the season. When we look inside of the script, we'll see how she looks, how pregnant Patty looks. Of course, a secret only known after the show. Oh, is she clearly pregnant? Yes, Donnell, great. Patty is, so I think, what did Patty wear in the episode? Was she a flight attendant? Am I making it up? Or as we used to call them, a stewardess? Yes, we could have had Frank dancing, putting on the Ritz. Yes, that would have been funny, but that would have cost a lot of money because we would have to pay rights. Yes, Windlepoons. Now, he also, that episode won an award. So there's a lot of awards. that you in the general public that I had never heard of, like the Humanitas Award and some other award. And that episode actually won an award for responsible, this is the worst title and I'm making it up, but it was pointing out how it was pointing out responsible sex. And Steve couldn't remember the name of the award that I just asked him. Season 6, episode 25. The Bigger Person. Okay. That's so interesting. Season 6, episode 25. So that was right at the end of the season then, because we never did more than 26. She wore a flight attendant hat. Yes, she was a stewardess. Oh, yes. So you're not allowed to say stewardess anymore, apparently, in the world of comedy. I think you can say pretty much anything. When the crossover episodes like ELR meets King of Queens, who writes the episode? Writers of both? No. Great question. When there is a crossover episode, the writer of that series writes it. So meaning, when Ray's on King of Queens, it's only King of Queens writers. So I did go to a King of Queens. I went to when Ray filmed there, and I was able to pitch some jokes and get some jokes in, but it's written by the writers of that series. It would be weird for the writers to come over. It would be odd because they're also working on their shows and they're very busy. So now when Kevin James, Ray and I'll find a picture. I think there's a picture of us sitting on the couch with Deborah, on Ray and Deborah's couch, me, Ray, and Kevin James, because we wrote an episode called Golf. And it's confusing because I also wrote an episode called Golf For It, which I think was Tucker Cawley and Mike Royce. So that was, Kevin was just right. He wasn't on King of Queens yet when we did Golf, the golf episode. Don't worry, just go play golf. Yes. 6-year anniversary. Yes. 25 is the 10-year anniversary show. Okay. So 23, episode 23, season 6, episode 23. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. Cause season 6, 25 was maybe the clip show. Great. I'm scrolling through these questions. Keep them coming. That's awesome. Yes, Patty as the flight attendant. Now, I want to talk to Susan Varon. Now, when Tom McGowan was on, he was talking about Hofstra. So there's a lot of people from Hofstra who ended up being on the show, and Susan Varon was one of them, which makes me want to turn to our episode now. And sorry, there's a question of, did we ever do another Halloween episode? No. I don't believe. So to the best of my memory, nobody else had a Halloween specific story. But correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, I'm at a friend's house in New York. I don't even know what those movie posters are behind me. They look like old movies. And it's backwards for you guys, so it's going to be hard to read. Okay, time to look inside the script. And sorry if there's a lot of glare, I know. So here we go. Halloween Candy, Never Before Seen. Polaroids by the Wardrobe Department. The script is Ashley Steuer. And so, by the way, when we all had a little label stuck on our script on show day, and it would be, the place was swimming with scripts, so you didn't want to lose your script. Now, here we go. Let's see. There is Ray. Let me see if I can get it with as little glare as possible. So this must be the teaser. Let me get it to stop shaking. So the teaser, again, for those of you, the teaser is the beginning. I think it says teaser. It's the beginning of the episode. It's usually 1 or 2 pages, and a lot of times it's cut. So when I'm showing these pictures, for those of you that have been watching in syndication, you will know if you say, hey, I've never seen that outfit, then chances are that was cut. I'm seeing these for the first time. So that's just Ray's slippers on the floor. Okay. I love this every time because I'm seeing them So there, okay, so in the background is Steve Scrovan, who was given, in real life, he was given condoms that look like candy in his Christmas stockings by his sister-in-law, which I said, you know, Steve, was that a little bit odd? And he said, well, it's a funny joke thing, so not really. Okay, there's Ray's outfit. And again, as I've said a lot of times, the wardrobe department is trying to be as innocuous as possible. So there, now in the episode, did Ray wear the flight attendant hat as well? Give me a thumbs up if Ray wore the flight attendant hat as well, because it is very funny. So here we are on Ray's page. Great. Ray looking a little bit surprised. So let's scroll down. And yes, Leo, Phil's son was on the episode. You are correct. Phil's son, Ben. Okay, there we go. Oh, there you can see Patty in the background. Does she look pregnant there? Hard to tell from that photo. And she's just in the background of Raymond's photos. Okay, let's go to Patricia Heaton's. So here we go. There's some more. Again, every detail has to be figured out. Those are Ray's shoes, I assume, by the bed. So that is the end of Ray. Here comes Patty. So you guys can let me know, was this is the teaser. Did this make it to the episode in syndication? You guys would know. Yes, Raymond wore the hat. Thank you so much. Raymond wore the hat coming home from trick-or-treating. I think the question, what did Robert wear? I can't remember, or were he and Amy away on the honeymoon? So I think he came to the door, right? Wasn't there a complaint from the house? So he was actually on duty, yes. All right, Patty Heaton in the teaser. Okay, I won't show that because that's just the bed. Okay, so now, what is Patty wearing there? A police, it looks like a British policeman's hat. Interesting. Okay, so here's the back of a Polaroid. There we go. Oh, this is a good shot of Patty. There we go. So that is, yes, Patty in her flight attendant outfit. And let's see also, and again, these are impromptu photos. So it looks like Patty's rubbing her eye. And is that Doris? Yes, great. Doris next to her. That is awesome. And now, yes, Patty again. Okay. Whoops, these are great to see. So this must be also the teaser, I assume, or is this later in the episode? Hard to see because it's backwards. Those of you watching will know. Try and get that close without glare. Great. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can see Doris looking like a cupcake. That's great. These are just great to see. And as usual, because it's wardrobe, they have to make sure they have her earrings, a close-up of her earrings. Okay, this is great. All right, here we go. Peter Boyle. And it looks like Peter might be snacking as they took this photo. So again, Ashley would have a Polaroid camera clipped to her belt. She would run into the set in between takes and she would yell flashing because a flash bulb going off would cause all of the gaffers or the electrical department to look up and see if a bulb that's lighting the set had blown. And so you have to yell flashing otherwise. And she's trying. So that is the only picture of Peter. Interesting. Here is Brad. Robert, I guess they're at Nemo's there, right? In his casual clothes. And then you can see Peter is standing next, so they're talking. Brad is laughing, it looks like, talking to Peter. These are great. These are great candid shots. Now the kids, great candid shots of the kids. That's great. That means Madeline Sweeten should be here somewhere. Okay. There is Maddie playing Allie with her pumpkin. That is an adorable photo right there, which I'm sure that Madeline Sweeten has never seen. Let's see. Oh, I forgot Andy Kindler. Andy Kindler, who we'll be talking to again soon at Nemo's as well. And now, oh, here was the question. Joe Perry as Carmen Miranda, looking to not be enjoying dressed like Carmen Miranda. Let me stop that. Can you guys see that? Yes, there is Joe Perry, who played the original Nemo, dressed as Carmen Miranda. That is great to see. He was actually the uncle of somebody who worked on the show. And I posted this. There's the lovely Tina Arning. And in the back, you can see she played Angelina. And in the back, you can see Susan Varon there, who went to Hofstra with Tom McGowan and Phil Rosenthal. There's Susan Varon. Hopefully Susan can join us soon and talk about the early days in Hofstra, at Hofstra, with such a talented group. Now, here is Elizabeth Herring, also off Hofstra. She played Parker's wife, as you know, and she was also our dialogue coach. So she was in on every single episode. And there she is. And so this is sideways, so we'll be back. So there's Phil Rosenthal's son, Ben, who actually in real life did the Angry Family inspiration moment. And Steve Scrovan's daughter in real life, dressed as, it's hard to tell, but in between, there's someone who's dressed as a cowboy, and that's Steve Scrovan, the writer of Halloween Candy, in there. And there might be some other friends of the cast. There's a random vampire and a few other extras and a ton of other extras there who you will not recognize. But you can see that's every extra, every photo. There's background extras at Nemo's. So, all right, that was great. The Halloween, the first glimpse ever inside the Halloween Candy episode. That was awesome. Okay, let me scroll ahead to some questions before I wrap it up with, I'm trying not to do too long on when we don't have a guest. Yes, actress Tina Arning played Angelina at Nemo's. Was her character named after Angelina, the waitress at the pizzeria by Louis Prima? You are correct, Bobby. That is where Phil Rosenthal said he named the character Angelina. Oh, hopefully we'll have Tina on here as well. Do the actors really eat the food when the Nemo scenes? Chances are, because you have to do it a lot of times, in almost every scene, you don't eat the food, or you take a very small bite, because A, you have to talk, and B, if you have to do the scene 20 times, then you've eaten a lot of food. Karen, really missing ELR here in the UK now. It's not been showing every night on Comedy Extra. Comedy Extra, is that correct? Is that a channel there? Yes, the kids are very, very cute. Now, by the way, the Nemo's Pizza Place. So Nemo was the name of Ray's dog in real life. And Ray had a softball team that I played on with Ray back in New York. We played under the 59th Street Bridge in Queens. And the name of the team was Nemo's. But the Nemo's Pizzeria, the exterior of the pizzeria, which again, when I say we, Phil didn't say, hey, I go here and find this picture of the pizzeria. He's presented, like, this is the external shot, this is the exterior shot of Nemo's Pizzeria. And it's so, there's so much stuff going on that, and we can ask Phil, remind me to ask Phil next time he's on. That's such a small thing. Now, when the show becomes a hit, all of a sudden, like Ray's house in Long Island, so Ray's house in real life in Long Island now becomes this iconic thing, or the Friends apartment, or the diner on Seinfeld all of a sudden becomes something, or the Brady Bunch house. You can go buy the Brady Bunch house. It's in Los Angeles. It's in Studio City. And you can see the exterior of the Brady Bunch house. And as you know, somebody bought it, a network bought it, and then they made the inside of the house match what the set looked like, which it did not look like at all. And so those little decisions have long-time ramifications, just like the Cunningham's house in One Day oh boy, what is the series with the Fonz? That exterior is right in Los Angeles. You can drive by it. Happy Days exterior, the Cunningham home. Yes, Red Lens. Yes, that does include photos of the costumes the trick-or-treaters wore. And forgive me because I'm going back. Hello, Pam. Let's see. Great questions here. Let me scroll through. Ray for yes, the flight attendant thing as well. And you know, the Christmas episodes were mentioned. There were no other Halloween episodes, as far as I know. It's a risky thing to do a special episode for a holiday other than Thanksgiving and Christmas, at least in the United States, because you just for certain reasons when you rerun it early on, it might be weird to have a Christmas episode running June 5th, etc. It kind of goes away once you get into the big syndication where it's just playing all the time, you know, all year round. So, all right, final questions before we wrap up this episode. Should have Frank and Marie. Yes, Frank and Marie would be good episode, good Halloween costumes now. That's actually a very good idea. Princess Christine. Yes, hello, West Virginia. Where in West Virginia? Anywhere near Hamlin? Okay, let's scroll down. Any final questions? Yes, so Dogs and Butterfly. Yes, holiday episodes are always your favorite. Yes, they are a very special place in the body of work of almost every episode, those special holiday episodes. And it was always special on the set as well, because you would feel that holiday spirit, even though it was a few weeks, usually 3 or 4 weeks before that episode. Yes, Ray and Deborah and Frank and Marie's house were in Long Island, and they're diagonally across the street from each other. Did Kevin James help the success of the show? So Kevin of Everett Raymond, no. Kevin James was not known yet when the show aired, and so Ray was trying to help Kevin and put him in a couple episodes, and we wrote. It's probably the first episode Kevin ever wrote was the golf episode where Ray is told to go golfing by his doctor. So yeah, Kevin was not able to help the success of Everett Raymond. Because he was a fantastically funny stand-up comedian, but was not known yet. I hope that answers that question. Ray and Kevin knew each other from New York, and one time there was a pilot season where they bonded, because in pilot season you come out and you stay in a hotel and you go up and read for stuff, and if you don't get a pilot, then you go back home and you say, oh, well, I guess this showbiz stuff won't be happening for me this year. I will go back to doing stand-up comedy. So that's when Ray and Kevin really bonded, before Everybody Loves Raymond at all. So yeah, I hope that helps. And Kevin, in an odd twist, I think I've mentioned this before, Kevin is from Long Island in real life. Ray is from Queens in real life. When Ray was first doing Everett Raymond with Phil Rosenthal, the network said, we can't have Ray being from Queens because it's too New York centric. Let's make him more from the suburbs. So they put Everett Raymond in the suburbs. And then when Kevin came out, Kevin's show came out, they named it King of Queens and put Kevin James into the role of King of Queens, even though he himself is from Long Island originally. All right. I hope to see you guys again next week. Sunday, we will have a guest. Again, December 5th, Tom McGowan to continue with his stories. I did talk to Ray's wife and Phil's wife, and we will have them on together, and that will be an episode that you don't want to miss. All right, happy Halloween, everybody. I will see you again. Keep your questions, spread the word that we're on here on Instagram. Keep your questions coming. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your Halloween.